Picture this. It's the early 1990s. The Japanese car scene is cranking out some of the most iconic sports cars of all time. The RX-7 FD, Rotary perfection. The A80 Supra, the JDM King, and the 300Z XC32, a luxurious powerhouse. Then there's Mitsubishi stepping into the ring with the 3000 GT or GTO if you're lucky enough to live in Japan. But while the Supra, the RX-7, and the 300ZX, maybe not the last one, became legends in the enthusiast world, the 3000 GT always felt like the odd one out. Why? Because Mitsubishi didn't just want to build a fast car, they wanted to build a technological showcase. A car that didn't just compete, but left the competition eating its dust in terms of innovation, and that's exactly what they did. Did they do it right or wrong, well or poorly? Well, today we're going to get into the 3000 GT's history, the engineering behind its cutting-edge features, the quirks that made it infamous, and why, in my opinion at least, it's one of the most underrated sports cars you can buy. Buckle up, because this one's going to get real nerdy, because the 3000 GT is a bit of a nerdy car. The Mitsubishi GTO debuted in 1990 as Mitsubishi's flagship sports coupe. In Japan, the name GTO was a nod to Ferrari's iconic 250 GTO, which raised more than a few eyebrows. Over in the US, however, Pontiac already had dibs on the GTO name, and it was a hard no when Mitsubishi asked, so they rebranded it as the 3000 GT. But here's the kicker. It wasn't just a car from Mitsubishi. Thanks to their partnership with Chrysler, it was also rebadged as the Dodge Stealth in the American market. The 3000 GT was built on Mitsubishi's Z15A platform, which they developed specifically for this car and this car only. It was designed in Tokyo with engineers aiming to make it the ultimate all-around, a car that could crush it on the circuit, on the road, in a straight line, get you to work every day, and heck, even be a bit of a grand tour at the same time. At the heart of the 3000 GT was the 6G72 V6 engine, part of Mitsubishi's Cyclone family, and this engine came in two different flavors. You had a naturally aspirated version found in the base and SL models, producing 222 horsepower and 201 feet-pound of torque. It was fine for a sporty daily driver, but it wasn't breaking any records, and these things are kind of priced accordingly now. Next up, you have the VR4 trim, coming with a twin turbocharged version of the 6G72, making right on about 300 horsepower and 307 feet-pound of torque. In 1994, those numbers jumped up to 320 horsepower and 315 feet-pound of torque, making the VR4 one of the most powerful Japanese sports cars of its time. The twin-turbo engine was paired exclusively with a 5-speed manual transmission, upgraded to a 6-speed in '94, and sent power to all 4 wheels via an advanced all-wheel drive system. This all-wheel drive setup was a game-changer for Mitsubishi, giving the VR4 incredible traction and stability, whether you were launching off the line or slicing through a mountain road. Now, if there's one thing that defines the 3000 GT and sets it apart from its contemporaries, it's the sheer amount of technology Mitsubishi crammed into this thing. Let's break it down. First, active aero. The 3000 GT VR4 featured active aero, something you'd normally expect to see on a modern hypercar, not a 90s JDM coupe. Here's how it worked. The rear spoiler tilted upward at speeds over 50 miles an hour, creating additional downforce to keep the car planted at high speeds. The front air dam would lower at the same time, reducing drag and improving airflow under the car. These features weren't just marketing gimmicks. They actually worked and genuinely improved high-speed handling, making the 3000 GT feel more stable on the highway or cornering at high speeds. Of course, over time, the motors controlling the active aero became finicky and prone to failure, and today many owners retrofit them with simpler fixed setups. Mitsubishi wasn't just content with all-wheel drive, though. They also added all-wheel steering to the mix. At low speeds, the rear wheels would turn slightly inward and outward, just like Nissan's Hikus setup, reducing the turning radius and making parking a breeze. At high speeds, they turned in the same direction for added stability during lane changes or fast corners. This system gave the 3000 GT an agility that belied its weight. The electronically controlled suspension ECS system in the 3000 GT allowed drivers to switch between 2 modes, Tour and Sport. In Tour, the car was comfortable enough for long drives, commuting, daily driving on Tokyo's bad roads, whereas in Sport mode, it stiffened up the dampers for better cornering. Again, this tech was way ahead of its time, but it's also one of the most common failure points today. Don't expect to find one with this intact. Now, the VR4 also featured an active exhaust system, which let drivers toggle between two modes. You had a quiet mode for daily driving and sport for a throatier, more aggressive sound. This was one of the first examples of variable exhaust technology in a production car, and informed this in many cars to come. So why did it all fall short? Well, as innovative as the 3000 GT was, it had its share of issues. The first one, weight. The VR4 tipped the scales at nearly 3,800 pounds, which made it significantly heavier than its rival. While the tech helped mask this, it couldn't match the Supra or RX-7 in terms of agility and balance. Now, complexity. All those high-tech systems, active aero, all-wheel drive, ECS, were groundbreaking, prone to failure because they were early technology, and when something broke, it was wildly expensive to fix. Now, brand perception, Mitsubishi wasn't known for making high-performance sports cars. They were the rally kings, and the 3000 GT never really escaped the shadow of the Lancer Evolution or even the Galant VR4, to be honest with you. Now, let's talk mods. If you buy a 3000 GT today, chances are you're planning to tinker with it a little bit, because in stock form, they're not really that competitive these days. Here's some of the most popular upgrades we came across on the forums. You're going to want to go with bigger turbos on the VR4. The factory ones are great for 300 to 400 horsepower if they're in good shape, but throwing on TD04s or Garrett GT28 can push the engine well past 500 horsepower, which the stock bottom end can definitely take. You're going to want to upgrade the intercooler. A front mount unit from like Rotary or Mishimoto, if you're on a budget, can handle the increased boost levels and keep intake air temperatures in check. Now, fueling wise, you're going to run out of fuel at this point. You're going to want to upgrade to some larger fuel injectors and a Walbro 255 or a Hellcat pump for a big power build. Tuning wise, you can go standalone, AEM Infinity, or my personal preference, you can go with a Haltech unit and dial in the perfect remap. Now, suspension wise, the aging ECS system is going to have failed at this point, so BC Racing coilovers, if you're on a budget, or KWs if you've got some bread, are going to improve handling and get rid of one of the car's most common failure points. You're going to want to stiffen up anywhere you can, so bushings, sway bars, all that stuff to reduce body roll, because it's really going to matter in a car this heavy. Now, the VR4 stock brakes are solid, but either going with a big brake kit like a Brembo or a StopTech kit is really gonna help, given again this car's weight. Wheels and tires wise, we have over 800,000 wheels and tires on our website, so click the link down below to pick up your set. RPF1s are great if you're on a budget, but we've got a whole fitment guide on the VR4, which we're gonna have linked down below as well, which is gonna be a huge help. Now, getting to the title of the video, should you buy a 3000 GT? Well, in my opinion, it's one of the best kept secrets in the JDM world, and it's a car that's bound to appreciate at some point. While Supras and RX-7s are bringing high 5, low 6 figures, you can still find a clean left-hand drive VR4 for 20 to 30 grand. Modifying it can easily keep up with newer, much more expensive sports cars, or you can go the restoration route. Parts do tend to be expensive, but it's a car that you can keep in stock trim and bank on future appreciation. The 3000 GT was a car that dared to be different. It wasn't perfect, but it pushed boundaries in a way that few other cars at the time did. If you're willing to invest in a little maintenance and put up with some BS, the 3000 GT offers a really unique and interesting driving experience that's unlike anything else from its era. So is it worth it? Well, if you're an enthusiast that geeks out over tech, the 3000 GT might just be the perfect car for you. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, drop a comment, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.